All right, our next step is to apply this solving by factoring to some applications. So we're going to do a little bit of number theory. How do I write a quadratic equation to find two numbers that sum to a given number and multiply to another number, which goes right along with how we factor. And then how do I use factoring to find the time it takes for an object to fall? So let's see, where's my tools here? Let's pick my pen and let's go forward. All right, write a quadratic equation to find two real numbers that sum to 4 and multiply to -5. So start each problem this way. Let your first number call it x all the time. Your other number then is whatever they sum to minus the first. So in this case, our sum is 4 minus the first is 4 minus x. So I have x and 4 minus x. Now, multiply them together, and it says that they multiply to equal -5. All right? Now distribute. Now it says move the 5 to the left, but I like my x squared to be positive, so I'm going to move everything to the right. So I'm going to go x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Okay? And then I'm going to factor. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to equal -5 and add to equal -4. So that's going to be -5 and +1. -5 times 1 is -5. -5 plus 1 is -4. So I get x squared minus 5x plus 1x minus 5. I'm going to group. So I get x times x minus 5 plus 1 times x minus 5. So I get x minus 5 and x plus 1. Now I solve each of those. This says x minus 5 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. So this means the number is 5. And, that's a 5, sorry, and -1. State the numbers, 5 and -1. Okay? Let's try another one. Write a quadratic equation to find two real numbers that sum to 2. So this is 2, and multiply to -24. So my first is x. My second number is 2 minus x. Now I set their product equal to -24. So again, I'm going to distribute and then move everything to the right. So I get a positive x squared. So I get x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. And now I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to -24 and add to equal -2. So I'm going to hop to 6 and 4, -6 and +4. So that gives me -2 when I add them together. When I multiply them, I get -24. When I add them, I get -2. So I get x squared minus 6x plus 4x minus 24 is equal to 0. Group, pull out an x. Pull out a 4. Factor out the common binomial. set each of them equal to 0. So that means x is going to equal 6 and x is going to equal -4. Those are the two numbers, all right? The last thing, we saw this back when we were just writing the equation and filling in. Now we're actually going to solve it using factoring instead of graphing. So if we use the equation, h of t is equal to the initial velocity times t minus 16t squared. This is the effect of gravity, where h of t is the height of the object in feet, v sub 0 is the object's initial velocity in feet per second, and t is the time in seconds. Write an equation to satisfy the situation and solve using factoring. So we would have h of t, we've already done this part, h of t is equal to 48t minus 16t squared. For the ball to hit the ground, that means its height in feet is 0. So that means h of t is equal to 0. All right, so now I'm going to factor this side. I'm going to pull out a 16t, and that leaves me 3 minus t so that means 16t equals 0, or t equals 0 seconds, and then 3 minus t is equal to 0, or 3 is equal to t. So it's going to be 3 seconds. This first one is when it was hit. The second one is the time it takes for it to touch the ground. All right? We have a worksheet tomorrow, so you probably have it. If you feel like you want to do a couple problems, that's fine. We'll work on it in class. Thanks for listening.